Hey, this is Jennifer Rubin, and this is Jennifer Rubin's Green Room. Where has the last couple of weeks left us, other than depressed, demoralized, scared? Listen, things are not well on the Democratic side of the election. We've had a president who performed not just abysmally, but really failed to respond to the concern, the legitimate concern that people raised afterwards. And that, of course, has been, for me at least, more troubling than the debate performance itself. For whatever reason, he and his team have dug in. Rather than admit that the president is 82 years old and he doesn't keep the schedule a 40-year-old does, but nevertheless, he remains one of our best presidents, and on his worst possible day, could run circles around Donald Trump. Instead of doing that, instead of leveling with people, instead of acknowledging some physical limitations, the deny has, I think, had the opposite effect. And worse, not allowing him to get out there and do the kinds of events that would give people greater confidence has become a real problem. He should be doing town halls. He should be doing more interviews. He should be doing very long press conferences. And the nagging sense that many people have is, why isn't he doing this? Is it because he can't? Now, I want to separate two things. I think you can be a very good president, as he has been, put together an excellent team, make good decisions, insist upon the best information. You can do all that. You can run a White House and, frankly, run a country. And at the same time, not be on your toes verbally all of the time. At times, lose your train of thought. At times, show your age. These two things are not inconsistent. But I will be honest, in the eyes of the public, during a campaign, good luck trying to separate those two things. So the president, for now, is going to try to do those things. He's going to try to say, I'm not a young man, but look at what I've done and look at the results. Okay, well, that's worth pursuing. But I think something else has to happen. If he wants to stay in this race, and for now it looks like he is, I think the calls for him to get out and step down have backfired spectacularly. If he wants to stay in the race, it has to be a different kind of race. And the good news is we have examples of how you do this. The French. Yes, the French. What did they do? They were up against the right-wing government of Marine Le Pen. And what did they do? They formed something called the New Popular Front. This was a hodgepodge of left-wing groups, of socialists, of far left, of green parties. And in addition, they had Macron's party, which is a center-left party. And what they did is they didn't run on the leader of the New Popular Front because, frankly, they didn't even know who that person would be. That's going to have to be thrashed out. They didn't run on this shiny new platform that the New Popular Front would put out there. They ran against fascism, and they won. They said, what these people are offering is a threat to the essence of our country, the essence of being French. It is a threat to liberty, equality, egalitarianism, and it is a mortal threat to our survival as a country, because these people will sell us down the drain to the Russians. These people will pit one another against each other. These people will alienate our democratic allies. These people will take us back to a dark episode in our history, and we cannot allow that. That's what they said. And they said it for a couple weeks, and it worked. And that's because they had truth on their side. They really were fighting a fascist threat, just as we are fighting a fascist threat. Now, we don't have Le Pen, we have Trump, but we have two other things which I think may help the cause of democracy. One is Project 2025, which you've heard me speak about. This is the fascist blueprint. This is the one that says, we're going to take away birth control. We're going to go after various segments of the federal government. We're going to replace 50,000 people with Trump cronies who are going to take an oath of office to him. Imagine that. We are going to roll back the separation of church and state. We are going to lose entire departments of government. We are going to run your life as a Christian fascist state. This is frightful stuff. It is a recipe for financial disaster. It's a recipe for social disaster. And it is creepy and it is weird, which is why the Republican National Committee is trying to draft something else, a platform that sounds less creepy than the real plan. And in addition to 2025, we have the Supreme Court, handpicked by Donald Trump, which has now invested the president with criminal immunity for everything that he can label an official act. Who would, in their right mind, give Donald Trump the presidency under those circumstances? Do we trust him not to go on a crime spree? He went on a crime spree last time. Now he has the knowledge that he has complete impunity. And since his underlings know that he has impunity and that he can pardon them, there's nothing to stop them from going along with his crackpot schemes. So I think we have the building blocks of a campaign, but it's not built around, frankly, this president. As good as he has been, as much progress as we have made, it is a campaign that has to be waged by democracy against fascism. It has to be run on the principle that if we allow Trump with this president, this plan, this Supreme Court back in power, America as we know it is going to really come to an end. We're going to be out of NATO. Russia is going to be at Western Europe's door because they will have gobbled up Ukraine and perhaps gone after the Baltic states. We have to be honest that this is a plan for economic ruin. When you start rounding up millions of people, putting them in camps and getting ready to deport them, what do you think that's going to do to the economy? And what about the operation of government? Simply the impartial information that we depend upon to combat climate change, to keep our food and water safe, to keep hurricanes from wiping out communities, all of those things will be lost. So it's not the ideal situation, but it is a situation in which we can nevertheless prevail. So what does that mean for all of you? It means that you have to educate your neighbors, your friends, anyone within your social media platform about the dangers of Project 2025, about the dangers of this Supreme Court, and about what Donald Trump has in store. Do you want women nationwide to lose access to medical abortions or any abortions? Do we want the Comstock Act, this 19th century law that prevents people from sending abortion medication or abortion other materials through the mail? Do we want that to be the law of the land? Are we going back to the 19th century? That's how I think the most effective use of your time is now, is to publicize what Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans are all about. Because who's ever at the top of the Democratic ticket? It will probably be President Biden. It's not going to be about him. It's going to be about saving American democracy, saving functional government. If the French can do it, we can do it. And oh, by the way, in Britain, they weren't fighting fascism. They were fighting incompetent, grossly incompetent, mind-blowingly incompetent Tories. It wasn't that the Labour Party there was something so special. The new prime minister is so boring that he's been noted for making dullness his most distinguished feature. You don't have to have a positive, charismatic figure. It helps, but you don't have to. If you run against incompetency, cruelty, fascism, you might prevail, and we better do so. So don't give up hope. Keep working for democracy. Volunteer your time. Give to groups that are fighting for democracy, helping to get the word out about Project 2025 and the Supreme Court. And remember, it's a republic if we can keep. Bye-bye.